Wow. That was definitely a chapter. Just got my mind racing, and I literally just got back from Thanksgiving. I know for the other half of you that'll watch this in about a month, it'll be winter vacation, but let's just get into it. Chapter 74, titled Unforeseen Unveiling, will be out for everyone on December 28th, 2020 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or also known as the last chapter of 2020. And chapter 75 will be the first chapter of 2021, which is what I believe to be the halfway point for season 2. I'm excited. Like and subscribe for more Purple Hyacinth reviews. I got something special for the new year planned. As always, the timeline is broken up into sections so you can jump into whatever interests you the most. With the introduction out of the way, let's begin. So Belladonna and Kirian's was probably the least interesting part for me of this chapter, and that's not a bad thing, right? We got a lot of build up for this clash in the past couple of chapters, and we got an okay conclusion to the skirmish. Belladonna and Kirian are the only ones who use blades over firearms. We had been assuming, but we see a little bit of the tension in the difference of reasoning. And this was teased here, but I'm sure in the latter half of the season we'll get more revealed. The most important line for me was Kirian specifically asking other clueless police officers, ? Because this was a callback to the last chapter of the Camellia, where Kirian promised to Lauren that he wouldn't get her co-workers involved. So Kirian is kind of sussing out to see what other hits Belladonna has so they can be more prepared for it. I always love the dialogue, as our authors really pay such close attention to that sometimes, that the artwork itself takes our eyes away from the subtleties. Even Belladonna's immediate next line, mostly rich people, cheating spouses, and scared quitters are her next 3 targets. This little next section that I'll be talking about could be considered super spoilers if you don't look at Sophism's Instagram. I'm not talking about the Picardo streams because we never talk about those, but skip this little section if you don't look at her Instagram stories. Okay, so I'll be talking about the out of context panel of the match in front of Lauren. So we didn't actually know what chapter it was because Sophism, kind of blocked it out. But I'm thinking that we'll actually get it either next chapter or in 76 for the big wrap-up of the first half. Now, why do I think that? Well, Sandman is the last one mentioned by Belladonna, a scared quitter. We finally see the conclusion of how Belladonna leaves, since both Kirian and Belladonna are relatively not really injured, and I believe that Belladonna will stumble onto tied up Lauren and Sandman. Lauren, so far in the story, has had the unfortunate luck of never getting the information she wants, and Sandman this chapter seems to offer way too much for my liking. There's no way that this little conversation will go uninterrupted, and Belladonna will come through and gut Sandman just like she did with Sake so recently. Now, the only thing holding me back is, we just got a death, a couple of chapters ago, but this image of the match in front of Lauren kind of makes it believable, knowing what little bit that we got of Belladonna's story. And Belladonna just made a statement to Kirian that she won't kill Lauren yet. So Lauren will probably be saved by Belladonna, but kind of put to the test. I think she's gonna set Sandman on fire or something like that, and the fire will spread, and Lauren has to find her way out. Now, I think that would make a fantastic chapter, but obviously we'll have to wait for the next week or two to see what will actually happen. Now, back to the actual chapter itself. Who do you think the rich person and the cheating spouse are? They could be the same person, they could be different people. I feel like these categories are a little too broad for us to narrow down, but potentially Will's father could be the second one. I'm not too sure. And poor Will, a beautifully crafted vertical panel. The reflections into the flashback with the train separating them. Oh my goodness. It was so well done. Like, I want to show this image, but of course we don't show fast-pass screenshots, so I can't. But for those who've read it, this is easily one of my favorite panels this season. Just wow. And finally, to the last section. Even though Lauren has already known that Sandman didn't die, when we learned from Belladonna in the Camellia, her anxiety and nervousness really showed this chapter. Not a single lie here, and that kind of concerns me. We know from Belladonna in the Camellia that she told Sake that Sandman had been missing for over a year now. So when Sandman himself said that it was only a few weeks ago that everything changed, probably someone had died, why has he been missing for much longer? I also would like to know the history of what Sake did to get a favor of Sandman, so much of a favor that Sandman had to turn into the Phantom Scythe. I like that we get a little backstory for Anslow, and that in my Harvey analysis video way back, I believe I mentioned that there was a chance that Anslow was going to meet Harvey's supervisor at the Golden Clover, since Harvey had to make reports at a roughly bi-monthly cycle, and although it wasn't that, it was still a Phantom Scythe member. we also see the, repercussions of Loon, and I loved how Loon taking apart the Seven's crew led to Sandman following Lauren around, figuring out that Kieran is the Phantom Scythe, or figuring out that Kieran is the Purple Hyacinth, and that Lauren is part of Loon. Such a beautiful and believable plot progression, and it's all caused by Lauren and Kieran's desire to hunt for the leader. I hope we continue to see what kind of consequences of, causing change, because that's a fantastic theme to show like this, right? Like, there's no way that Loon could have known what was going on in the background, and if they acted even a couple minutes later, even a day later, or watched Anslow when he met with Sandman, things would have been drastically different. Well, yeah, that's all for the video. Thank you so much for listening up to this point. As always, make sure to heart the chapter when you finish reading, and comment to be a part of the community. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this sort of stuff. My social media can be found by searching Inspirational on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Shout out to my designer. You can find his work on Instagram. See you all next time.